Record progress.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Financial Literacy, looking at and helping you to understand velocity banking and accelerated banking. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe. Also, try to share the video with others. As I work with clients and I work with different individuals and groups to understand velocity banking, accelerated banking, improving their credit, becoming an authorized user. There's just a lot of different things that I'm working on to help an individual improve his or her or their family financial capability and financial literacy. If you like to work with my team, definitely just hit the like button, subscribe, or please contact us with the information below. All right, let's get into part 4. So the first part I talked about was my salary that I put onto my bill or debt tool that I was looking at, 1694.93, 2 weeks. Next, looked at the combined income and the expenses in part 2, daily expenses, monthly expense, and rent utilities. And 3, looked at also in terms of overdraft protection, and trying to get as much as I can onto the credit card to help with the average daily balance and bring down the balance in general. So this is part 4, which I was unable to use the checking account to get more bills onto the balance. I now had to turn to or started using convenience checks. Convenience checks is something that Navy Federal or lenders provide to you that you can write against your line of credit. So my credit limit on this account is $6,200. My credit advance or cash advance limit that I can write against it through convenience checks is 30% of 6,200, which is 1860. So I'm using up to 1860 to get money onto the credit card to pay various bills. So at least I know that for this particular month in May, I used convenience checks on three items. One was my utilities and rent. That was $1,436. One check paid for my student loans, which was $374. One convenience check paid for the bills, my electric bill, not bills, and that totaled 119. Overall, I used 3 convenience checks for the month of May just to see how it works, totaling $1,929. Now my limit is 1860. So one of the things with the convenience check is a matter of timing the convenience check so that they are able to go through. But you want to be careful because if there's not enough room in the convenience check, you can get hit with a non-sufficient fund fee, which is about $25, $26. I think that happened to me the first time that I was trying to use it and understand the system. Also, whatever you write on convenience checks, they're considered purchases, except in writing yourself a check or writing a check directly to someone else. I got to find out more information about that because I haven't used that part. I only use the convenience check to write to my vendors. So with that in mind, I had to time these three checks so that I did not go over the 1860, which would have result in an insufficient fund in general. So just looking at what I've done so far for the month of May, my objective was to really home in on one debt tool or one credit card and to get as much of the bills or expenses onto that account, but also get as much of the money that will pay those bills and expenses as early as possible. Now, with this month, I was paid on the 17th in May and the 31st in May. So I did not get as much of the money on there as soon as I could in general. So this is going to have an impact on how you're able to pay those, or me, how I was able to pay those bills in general. But in specifically, The objective was to see how much of my bills could I get onto there and how much of my expenses I could get onto the credit card to bring down the average daily balance. It's going to rise because I'm going to pay back my expenses. But the key thing was, okay, how much of my paycheck could I get onto the account? And in this case, I'm able to get all of my paycheck, $3,389.86 for the entire month. My bills, $3,000, working on trying to get motors on there. For this particular month, I think I was successful in getting maybe uh, let's just say $2,000. No, about $2,500 dollars, if not more, onto the bills. So for this final piece or full part of it, again, it was trying to see, okay, of this last bank statement from Navy Federal that was due in June and had a payment of 145, how much of my check could I get onto it, which was all of it. When I made that payment, that also made the payment of $145 for the payment of that particular month. Of that 145, about 90 went toward the interest and 52 toward the balance. So I ended up with a significantly lower overall balance than if I would have simply paid the monthly payment. If I would have simply paid the monthly payment, only $51.90 would have went toward the credit card balance, and that would have left me with the end of the statement period, 5,160. But again, I really hadn't completed all of putting all of the bills onto the card, but it did result in a much lower balance in general. So as I move into June, hopefully I'll get this a little bit more tighter in terms of exactly what happened and what I produced. But in general, it was a lower balance. It helped out on the interest where I was paying 90 here in general. I should pay a lower interest in June. And you can do the same thing with I guess just making the just the monthly payment. But in terms of velocity banking, it's okay, how do we get more of our income and expenses onto the credit card to reduce the average daily balance? And three, no longer you relying on a checking account where the money is just sitting in the checking account and not really doing anything. So in beginning of January 2024, my money was going from my employer to the checking account and then paid bills, which included a credit card, and whatever I had left, which was 389, was sitting in the checking account, not doing anything for me. So then beginning in January to late, I started placing one or two of my bills onto the credit card. Not this one right here, but another one to see how it will work. And now I'm at a point where I'm relying on checking convenience checks, and I can put as much as I can onto the card. One of the things that I definitely learned with the velocity banking that will help is that in looking at this cash flow, so if this was my cash flow every month that I had left over after my bills, then because I'm using velocity banking, putting it on a credit card and letting it sit rather than a checking account, it builds up every month. So from January, I had say $400, $390 in cash flow. That money stayed on a card. Then in February, I had another $390 in cash flow, potentially because different bills came up. So maybe it was 200, maybe it was 350, but the point is the cash flow stayed on the card. So each month that I saw my cash flow sit on the card instead of on a checking account, not necessarily doing anything, it was helping to bring down the balance of whatever debt tool or whatever card I was working. So that's one of the powerful things of velocity banking. You can have that cash flow, whatever it is, $10, $20, $30, even $1, it doesn't matter. That cash flow is sitting on the card, it's compounding with the other cash flow each month. And if you're not really overspending, then that's helping you to reduce the interest. So say that $390 was my cash flow for a year. I really didn't have anything major come up, or which I overspend. At a minimum, 390 times 12, that's $4,680 that can sit onto the credit card. That's $4,680 that will be able to sit on the credit card and reduce the average daily balance, which reduces the interest. So just by switching from the checking account to a credit card helps in general in bringing down the debt. All right, so if you'd like to work with me and my team, if we can help you, please give me a call. I have a number of different type of financial services to help small loans, authorized users, financial literacy, financial capability to help you improve your credit and do some of the things that you'd like to do. I've used various systems to buy upwards of 4 properties that I own and I manage in general. So I have a couple of other businesses in general also. So if you like to start a business, you're interested in a business, you're interested in business taxes or how to reduce your taxable income, definitely contact me and my team, and let's see how we can work with you. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you very much for having a great day.